Imagine just 30 days from now, looking in the mirror and not recognizing who's staring back at you. Not because your face has changed, but because your energy, presence, and mindset have completely transformed. You stand taller, think sharper, and respond, instead of reacting. There's a calm power in your eyes that wasn't there before, and people around you can feel it too. There's something different about you, something unshakable. But let's be honest for a second. How many times have you felt stuck in the same loop? You try to break free, but you slide back into the same old patterns. Maybe you've promised yourself, next week I'll start. Maybe you've waited for the perfect moment, for life to quiet down so you can finally make the changes you've been dreaming of. But what if that's the lie? What if growth doesn't wait for peace? What if it's forged right in the middle of all the noise? That's what the Stoics knew. They didn't chase comfort, they trained in chaos. They built unshakable minds by stepping into discomfort, not running from it. And today, you have access to that same ancient wisdom. Not as some distant philosophy, but as something you can practice daily. A quiet rebellion against the noise of modern life. Over the next few minutes, we're going to explore the habits that don't just change your behavior but actually rewire your identity. Not through hacks or quick fixes, but with soul-deep shifts that make you unrecognizable in the best way possible. And if this message resonates with something deeper inside you, something that's been quietly craving clarity, strength, and direction, consider subscribing. It's free, it's simple, and it helps this community grow. But more importantly, it's a way of telling yourself, I'm ready to live with intention. When was the last time you did something uncomfortable on purpose? Most people avoid it like the plague. They rush toward warmth, ease, pleasure, scrolling, snacking, avoiding. But what has that comfort ever built? What has it ever strengthened? You don't forge a blade by stroking it gently, you put it in fire. And you're no different. Start your morning with a single chosen discomfort. Cold water, silence, fasting, barefoot on rough ground. Not to suffer, but to sharpen. The Stoics didn't wait for life to test them, they tested themselves. Because when the storm finally hits, and it will, they weren't caught off guard. They'd already trained in the fire. So the question becomes, will you? It's easy to tell yourself that you'll rise to the occasion when things fall apart. But the truth is, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our training. And most people are training for comfort. They wake up seeking ease, they react, not respond. They build lives padded with convenience and wonder why they feel so fragile. Seneca said, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." Every moment spent avoiding discomfort is a moment spent weakening the muscle of your mind. And like any muscle, it atrophies if you don't use it. Cold showers aren't about water. Fasting isn't about food. Waking early isn't about productivity. These are drills, mental reps, tiny rebellions against the softening of your spirit. Because real strength doesn't announce itself. It's quiet, subtle, and unshakable. Carl Jung once said, "People will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul." Discomfort strips away the noise and makes you look inward. That's why people avoid it. It's not the cold, the silence, or the hunger. It's what rises up in the absence of distractions. It's the voice you've been dodging, the fears you've been suppressing, the unresolved truths buried under convenience. But here's the thing, facing them is the only way through. You can't bypass transformation. You have to move through the flame to be forged by it. And no, this isn't about becoming some emotionless machine. It's about building inner gravity. So when life throws chaos your way, you don't wobble. You don't spin out. You stay rooted. Plato once said, "The first and greatest victory is to conquer yourself." That's the work. That's the discipline. Not conquering the world, but conquering your reactions, your impulses, your craving for ease. When you practice discomfort daily, you start to trust yourself. And that trust? It's not flashy, but it's rare. It's the quiet confidence that comes from knowing you've already done harder things on purpose. Here's something no one tells you. The more you choose discomfort, the less control it has over you. You stop flinching at challenges. You stop making excuses. You stop telling yourself the story that you're too weak, too late, too stuck. Every act of discomfort rewrites that story. You begin to see yourself differently, stronger, clearer, more capable. And that's how transformation works. Not in some big dramatic moment, but in the daily grind of quiet effort. In the choice to sit with silence instead of filling it. In the decision to fast instead of indulging. In the will to walk the longer path. Not because it's easy, but because it builds something solid inside you. Socrates believed that the unexamined life is not worth living. And it's hard to examine anything when you're constantly numbing yourself. But discomfort forces awareness. It slows you down. It strips the excess and brings your attention to the now. And in that clarity, you meet the part of you that's been waiting to be seen. Not the curated version. The real one. The one who knows you were built for more than comfort. That version doesn't just want growth, it demands it. Not in words, but in action. Repeated. Relentless. Disciplined. Now, think about it. You're no longer chasing the better version of yourself, but you've already decided who you are. This isn't about waiting for a breakthrough, it's about creating one of your own. Quietly, steadily, with purpose. It's the path of consistent discipline that builds a version of yourself you can trust. A version that's unshakable, calm, and rooted. When you step into discomfort daily, you stop relying on external motivation. Motivation comes and goes. It's like weather. It's reactive, waiting for the right mood, the right playlist, the perfect quote. But identity doesn't wait. Identity acts. Identity doesn't ask how it feels. It knows what it is. The Stoics didn't build their lives on motivation. They didn't wait to feel like being calm, generous, or courageous. They lived by a vow. Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire and faced constant criticism, would write to himself every morning. Not to hype himself up, but to remind himself of who he was trying to be. A ruler, yes, but also a man of rest, wisdom, and purpose. It wasn't about performing, it was about practicing. Practicing becoming. Practicing remembering. In a world full of noise, the quietest rituals are often the most powerful declarations of who you really are. And that's the real work. It's not in the dramatic, headline-making moments. It's in the stillness, the decisions you make, the actions you take when no one's watching. It's the small, seemingly insignificant choices that build your character over time. Now, think of your mornings. What would it look like if your first act of the day was something intentionally uncomfortable? Maybe it's a cold shower. Maybe it's sitting in silence for 5 minutes before you dive into your responsibilities. Maybe it's fasting. The point isn't the discomfort itself, it's the message it sends to your mind. It's telling yourself that you are in control, that you've chosen this moment of discomfort, and that it will make you stronger. The first thing you do in the morning sets the tone for the rest of the day. It's your ritual. The thing you commit to whether you feel like it or not. And in the beginning, it's hard. Resistance will show up. You'll find every excuse not to do it. But that's where the magic happens. In that resistance, the very moment when everything inside you says, don't do it. That's when you dig deeper. You might ask yourself, why is discomfort so essential? Because it's the path to self-mastery. You don't wait for life to test you, you test yourself. You don't wait for the storm to hit, you prepare for it every single day. The storm will come, and when it does, you'll be ready. Because you've built resilience in the fire. And that fire isn't just an external challenge, it's the internal fire that keeps you grounded, no matter what happens outside. The Stoics knew this better than anyone. They didn't seek comfort. They didn't believe in the illusion that peace could be found by running from life's challenges. They understood that true strength isn't born from avoiding pain, but from embracing it. From facing it head-on and using it to forge your spirit. They didn't chase happiness. They cultivated tranquility. They didn't avoid discomfort. They welcomed it, knowing that every moment of discomfort was an opportunity to grow stronger. You might think, but I'm not a Stoic. I can't handle that much discomfort. But here's the truth, you're already practicing discomfort every day. Every time you push through a challenge, every time you face fear and keep moving forward, you're engaging in Stoic training. It doesn't require perfection, it requires practice. It requires small, deliberate actions taken day in and day out that lead to the transformation you seek. The beauty of this philosophy is that it doesn't ask you to change everything at once. It doesn't demand that you transform overnight. It simply asks you to show up every day, to engage with the discomfort of life, to lean into it and learn from it. In doing so, you'll discover strength you didn't know you had. And the transformation doesn't stop at you. The people around you will notice too. They may not know what's changed, but they'll feel it. There's a quiet power that comes from someone who is steady in their purpose. Someone who isn't swayed by every opinion or every obstacle. Someone who doesn't need to prove themselves because they already know who they are. Now, let's talk about pride. This is the tricky part. As you start to build that strength, that inner calm, you may notice a subtle shift. You start to feel good about the changes. And that's great. But what happens when pride creeps in? When you start to need recognition for the changes you've made. When you begin to tell yourself, I've come so far. Look at how strong I've become. The problem with pride is that it can quietly take over. It's seductive. It whispers, you've made it. You deserve recognition. You're better than others. But that's the trap. The minute you start needing to be seen, needing to be validated, needing to be right, you lose what you've been building. Your strength, your growth, they begin to fade when you start performing for others. The Stoics understood this. They didn't spend their time correcting the world. They spent it correcting themselves. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic emperor, once wrote, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." And those words are the epitome of real power. Real strength doesn't need to announce itself. It doesn't need to defend itself. It simply is. It's steady. It's grounded. And that's the essence of Stoicism. It's not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about choosing to show up every day, even when it's hard. Even when you don't feel like it. Even when the world is loud and chaotic. Now, let's talk about ego. As you build this new identity, it's easy to feel proud of the progress you've made. And while self-recognition is healthy to an extent, it's crucial to keep the ego in check. The Stoics believed that true strength comes from being unmoved by the noise around us, not from needing to be seen or recognized for our efforts. You don't need to announce your transformation or broadcast your growth to others. Real strength isn't about the validation you receive, it's about the peace that comes from knowing you've done the work, no matter who's watching. Think about the moments when you feel compelled to defend yourself, to correct someone's misunderstanding, or to argue a point. These moments often reveal our ego at play. The desire to be right, to prove our worth, to show we know more than someone else. It's all rooted in the ego. But the Stoics taught that true mastery comes when we can let go of the need to be right. Real power is in staying grounded, remaining calm, and not reacting to every external stimulus. It's about trusting yourself so deeply that you no longer need external approval or recognition. This doesn't mean tolerating disrespect or allowing yourself to be walked all over. It means choosing peace over pride. It means responding rather than reacting. When you choose to let go of the need to defend your worth, you open the door to inner peace. And with that peace comes clarity, the ability to see the world more clearly and respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. One of the most profound Stoic practices is learning how to pause. In moments of conflict, instead of rushing to respond or defend yourself, you pause. You breathe. You let the urge to react subside. This moment of pause is where true strength resides. It's not in the sharp comebacks or clever retorts. It's in the ability to remain still when the world is pressing in on you. Imagine the next time someone interrupts you, disagrees with you, or criticizes you. Instead of snapping back or getting defensive, you simply pause. You breathe. You let the words wash over you without allowing them to disturb your inner peace. This is the power of choice. You choose not to react. You choose to let go of the need to prove yourself, and in doing so, you reclaim your energy and your peace. The Stoics practiced this daily. They didn't wait for life to challenge them. They sought out discomfort on purpose, training themselves to be unshakable. They didn't waste time defending their egos. They spent their time improving themselves. And that's the difference. You can either spend your time building your ego, chasing approval and recognition, or you can spend it building your inner strength, practicing discipline, and aligning your actions with your true values. This is the quiet power that the Stoics embodied. It wasn't flashy or attention-grabbing. It was a subtle, grounded strength that could not be shaken by the chaos of life. And the more you practice this mindset, the more you'll feel it in yourself. You'll begin to notice a shift in how you carry yourself. You'll walk into rooms with a quiet confidence, not because you need to prove anything, but because you know who you are and you're rooted in that knowledge. So, what does this all come down to? It comes down to clarity. The Stoics believed that clarity is power. And clarity doesn't come from adding more to your life. It comes from removing the unnecessary distractions. It comes from choosing not to be moved by every opinion, every challenge, or every piece of noise that tries to pull you off course. Clarity is about simplifying your life, focusing on what truly matters, and letting go of everything that doesn't serve your higher purpose. Take a moment to reflect on your life. How much of it is cluttered with noise, distractions, and things that don't really matter? How much of your energy is spent reacting to external circumstances or seeking validation from others? The Stoics believed that most of the things we worry about are completely optional. When you start to clear the noise, when you stop chasing external approval, and when you let go of the things that don't truly matter, you create space for what truly matters to you. This isn't about withdrawing from life. It's about stepping into life with intention, with purpose. It's about making the choice to show up as your true self, free from the weight of ego, pride, and the need to prove anything. The more you practice this, the easier it becomes to let go of the noise. You'll begin to notice that the things that once stressed you out, the things that once seemed so urgent, lose their grip on you. And the best part? The more you clear the clutter from your life, the more you'll feel your true essence shining through. You'll no longer be bogged down by the pressures of the world. Instead, you'll walk with a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you are living in alignment with your true values. The power of clarity is profound. It allows you to act with purpose, to respond thoughtfully, and to move through life with intention. It gives you the ability to choose how you engage with the world, rather than reacting to every external influence. And when you live with clarity, you become unshakable. You no longer feel the need to defend yourself or explain yourself to others. You simply exist as your truest self. As you continue on this journey, remember that the Stoics didn't aim for perfection. They aimed for progress. They didn't expect to never feel anger, frustration, or fear. But they learned to recognize those emotions, accept them, and respond to them in a way that aligned with their values. They didn't seek to escape discomfort. They embraced it, knowing that it was the fire that forged their strength. This is the essence of Stoicism, not the elimination of emotions, but the mastery of them. It's not about living a life free of challenges, but about becoming strong enough to face those challenges with grace, clarity, and purpose. Now, take a moment to think about your own life. What could you let go of? What distractions could you remove? What behaviors could you release that no longer serve you? The answers are within you. The Stoic path isn't about finding something outside yourself. It's about returning to who you've always been, a person capable of immense strength, clarity, and inner peace. As you continue this journey of transformation, you'll notice that the greatest shifts don't happen in the big, dramatic moments. They happen in the small, consistent actions you take every day. The Stoics understood this well. They didn't wait for perfect conditions to start their practice. They didn't wait for everything in their lives to be calm, serene, and in order. They didn't wait for some external change to come along and make it easier. They started exactly where they were, with what they had, and they made the best of it. This is the essence of living intentionally. It's about taking the small steps, every single day, that accumulate into lasting change. It's about choosing your actions with awareness and purpose, instead of reacting impulsively to whatever comes your way. The Stoics didn't believe in dramatic overhauls or quick fixes. They believed in the steady, consistent practice of self-mastery. And that's the power of daily habits. You don't have to make huge changes overnight. You don't have to revolutionize your life in one fell swoop. You just need to take small, deliberate actions that move you in the right direction. One of the most powerful practices you can adopt is the simple act of daily reflection. At the end of each day, take a few moments to ask yourself, how did I show up today? Was I true to my values? Did I respond, or did I react? Did I let my ego control me, or did I choose peace? These small moments of reflection help you stay grounded and focused on what truly matters. The Stoics were deeply committed to this kind of self-examination. They didn't simply go through life without questioning their actions or their beliefs. They took the time to reflect on their day, to examine their thoughts and actions, and to ask themselves if they had acted in alignment with their values. This practice allowed them to continually refine and improve their character. They understood that true wisdom isn't about memorizing a set of principles. It's about living those principles every day. This kind of self-reflection can be incredibly powerful for you as well. It helps you stay connected to your purpose, your values, and your true self. It keeps you grounded in the present moment, so you're not constantly caught up in the whirlwind of external distractions. It also helps you learn from your mistakes and adjust your behavior moving forward. Here's a simple exercise you can try. At the end of each day, take 5 minutes to write in a journal. Reflect on the moments where you felt truly present, where you responded with intention, and where you were grounded in your values. Write about the moments when you felt challenged, when your ego wanted to take over, when you wanted to react impulsively, and what you did instead. By doing this daily, you begin to create a record of your growth, a tangible reminder of the progress you're making. The power of this practice lies in its consistency. The more you reflect, the more aware you become of your thoughts and actions. The more you recognize your patterns, the easier it becomes to change them. This kind of self-awareness is the foundation of Stoic practice. It's not about being perfect, it's about being aware and making intentional choices. In addition to daily reflection, another key practice is setting boundaries. The Stoics were experts at this. They knew that in order to protect their inner peace, they had to set clear boundaries with the world around them. They didn't allow themselves to be dragged into every argument, every drama, or every distraction. They didn't let other people's opinions or actions dictate their emotional state. Setting boundaries isn't about being rigid or closed off. It's about protecting your energy and your peace. It's about knowing what you will and won't tolerate in your life. And when you set those boundaries, you're not just protecting yourself, you're also giving others the space to grow and thrive. You're not taking on their emotional burdens or engaging in their chaos. You're choosing to stay grounded in your own peace, no matter what happens around you. This can be a challenging practice, especially in today's world where everything seems to demand our attention. But the more you practice it, the easier it becomes. You start to recognize when something isn't in alignment with your values, and you make the choice to step away from it. Whether it's a toxic conversation, a negative environment, or simply something that doesn't serve you, you learn to let it go. And in doing so, you free yourself to focus on what truly matters. The Stoics also understood the importance of having a sense of purpose. They didn't live their lives aimlessly, letting external circumstances dictate their actions. They had a clear sense of who they were and what they stood for. And this clarity gave them the strength to face any challenge that came their way. Having a sense of purpose isn't about having a grand vision or a big goal. It's about knowing what your values are and letting those values guide your actions. When you live with purpose, You don't get swept up in the noise of the world. You stay focused on what truly matters to you, and you make decisions that are aligned with your deeper sense of self. As you move forward on this journey, remember that the Stoics didn't seek to escape the challenges of life. They didn't try to avoid discomfort or pain. They understood that life is full of ups and downs, and that true strength comes from how we navigate those challenges. It's not about avoiding the storm, it's about learning how to sail through it with grace. And just like them, you have the power to choose how you respond to the world around you. You have the ability to build a life of purpose, strength, and inner peace. It's not about what happens to you, but about how you choose to handle it. You don't need to wait for life to slow down to begin your transformation. You can start right now, right in the middle of everything. Now that you've started to recognize the power of your daily practices and the importance of self-awareness, let's talk about something that will deepen your transformation even further: embracing impermanence. The Stoics were keenly aware of the transient nature of life. They understood that nothing lasts forever. No joy, no pain, no success, no failure. Everything is temporary. This realization was not morbid to them. It was liberating. When you live with an awareness of impermanence, you begin to let go of the need to control everything. You stop holding on to things so tightly. Instead of clinging to moments of happiness or avoiding moments of discomfort, you learn to accept them as part of the natural flow of life. This doesn't mean you stop striving for greatness or working towards your goals. It means you stop attaching your sense of self-worth to external outcomes. You understand that the only thing that is truly permanent is your ability to respond with integrity, wisdom, and purpose. Think about how much energy we waste chasing things that are outside our control. We spend so much time worrying about how others perceive us, how much we accomplish, or how much recognition we receive. The Stoics knew that the only thing that we can truly control is our own behavior, our actions, our thoughts, our reactions to the world around us. Everything else is fleeting. And when you accept this, you free yourself from the shackles of external validation. When you truly understand the impermanence of life, you stop rushing through it. You begin to savor the present moment, fully aware that it won't last forever. This is a powerful practice that aligns with the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with nature, not trying to fight against the ebb and flow of life, but learning how to move with it. You begin to focus more on what you can control and less on what you can't. So, how can you start embracing impermanence? It begins with small shifts in your perspective. Try this. At the end of each day, reflect on what happened, but also acknowledge that those moments, those feelings, those experiences are all part of a passing moment. Appreciate them for what they are and let them go. The pain, the joy, the triumphs, and the setbacks, they're all temporary. The Stoics didn't resist change. They welcomed it because they knew it was a natural part of life's rhythm. A great practice to develop this mindset is the idea of viewing your life from above, a technique Marcus Aurelius often used. Imagine, for a moment, that you are an astronaut looking down at Earth from space. You can see the entire world, your worries, and your problems from a distance. Everything looks so small. From that perspective, the things that seem so urgent and overwhelming in your day-to-day life start to fade. The argument you had, the email that made you anxious, the frustration over a small setback, all of it becomes just another piece of dust in the vastness of existence. This exercise is a powerful reminder that we are just one small part of a much larger world. Our problems, while important, are temporary. And when you view your life with that broader perspective, you begin to make decisions with more clarity and less emotional reaction. You understand that this moment, just like all others, will pass, and what truly matters is how you respond to it. This exercise doesn't mean ignoring your emotions or pretending that challenges aren't real. It simply means not letting those challenges define you. Life isn't about avoiding difficulty, it's about choosing how you engage with it. When you step back and view your life from a broader perspective, you begin to see that everything is part of the process. There are no failures, just lessons. Every challenge is an opportunity to practice strength, patience, and resilience. The Stoics believed that virtue, living with wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation, is the only thing that can provide you with lasting happiness. Everything else is fleeting. Success, failure, wealth, and status, they are all transient. But the strength of your character, your ability to choose how you respond to the world, that is something that cannot be taken away. That's the one thing that remains, no matter what life throws your way. This is where the real transformation occurs. It's in the acceptance of impermanence. It's in letting go of the need for control and embracing life as it comes, with all its uncertainty and unpredictability. The more you accept this truth, the more freedom you gain. You stop being afraid of change, of failure, of loss, because you know that they are all just temporary. You focus instead on building an unshakable inner strength that no external circumstance can touch. At the same time, remember that embracing impermanence also means learning to appreciate life as it is right now. We often spend so much time chasing the next goal, the next success, that we forget to enjoy the present moment. The Stoics weren't about denying life's pleasures, they were about not becoming attached to them. They understood that happiness is found not in accumulating external things, but in living with integrity, in practicing virtue, and in accepting what comes with grace. Try to find moments throughout your day where you can simply be present, not worrying about the future, not regretting the past, but fully immersed in the now. Whether it's enjoying a meal, listening to music, or taking a walk, embrace the present moment. This practice will help you cultivate gratitude, and when you embrace gratitude for what you have right now, you begin to realize how much abundance already exists in your life. As you continue on this journey, remember that impermanence is not a cause for fear, it is a cause for celebration. It means that nothing, not even your most challenging moments, will last forever. It means that you have the power to embrace each day with intention and live in alignment with your deeper values. When you stop resisting life's ebb and flow, you allow yourself to flow with it, embracing the challenges, the successes, and everything in between. As we near the end of this journey, there's one last concept we need to address: the art of intentional refusal. We've already touched on the idea of clearing space in your life, but what does it really mean to live with intentional refusal? It's the Stoic practice of discerning what you will no longer tolerate in your inner world. It's about choosing what to leave behind, not just in terms of material possessions, but more importantly, in terms of behaviors, emotions, and reactions that no longer serve you. This practice of refusal is not about denying the world, rejecting life's pleasures, or refusing to engage with others. It's about being deliberate with what you choose to take in. The Stoics understood that to live a life of virtue and clarity, you must intentionally remove distractions, unnecessary stresses, and any energy-draining habits that get in the way of your peace. This doesn't just mean saying no to things. It means saying yes to what truly aligns with who you're becoming. It's about creating space in your life for what really matters and letting go of everything that doesn't. Let's break this down. Consider the things that clutter your mind. These could be thoughts of things that haven't happened yet, anxieties over things that are outside your control, or grudges from past events. The more you hold on to these things, the more they weigh you down. Every time you cling to anger, fear, or frustration, you invite unnecessary chaos into your mind. And the Stoics knew that when your mind is filled with unnecessary distractions, it's nearly impossible to cultivate peace and focus. Intentional refusal isn't about avoiding the world, it's about being intentional with what you allow into your life. It's about choosing not to get swept up in the chaos of the external world. Instead of reacting to every trigger, you choose to respond with mindfulness. Instead of getting caught up in every opinion or criticism, you choose to remain grounded in your own values. This could mean refusing to engage in gossip or negative conversations. It could mean refusing to spend your time on social media when you know it drains your energy and distracts you from your purpose. It might mean letting go of the need to prove yourself, or saying no to the pressure of constant achievement. Whatever it is, it's about choosing to be more mindful of your time, your energy, and your emotional state. You don't need to say yes to everything. In fact, by refusing the things that don't align with your values, you create more room for the things that truly matter. This is where the Stoic philosophy of discipline and simplicity comes into play. When you remove the noise and distractions, you create clarity. You have more space for your true purpose, for intentional actions that move you closer to becoming the person you want to be. Now, let's talk about how this practice of intentional refusal can apply to the big picture, your identity. Every action you take, every choice you make, shapes your identity. If you constantly react to the world around you, if you allow external circumstances, other people's opinions, or fleeting desires to dictate your actions, you begin to lose sight of who you are. Your identity becomes scattered, and you're pulled in all directions by the noise of the world. But when you practice intentional refusal, you begin to act in alignment with your true self. You no longer let the world define you. Instead, you define yourself. You decide who you are based on your values, your purpose, and your deeper sense of identity. It's a quiet but powerful rebellion against the noise, the pressure, and the distractions that surround you. So, ask yourself, what am I refusing to tolerate in my life? What behaviors, thought patterns, or relationships am I choosing to let go of? These questions may seem simple, but they have the power to shift your entire perspective. When you start to refuse what doesn't serve you, you'll notice that you become more focused, more peaceful, and more aligned with who you truly are. This is where transformation happens, not in big, dramatic gestures, but in the small, quiet decisions you make every day. The Stoics understood this. They didn't seek out fame, wealth, or applause. They sought inner peace, wisdom, and virtue. They lived their lives with a clear sense of purpose, and they chose what to embrace and what to refuse with intention. This practice of refusal can also extend to your emotions. Emotions are a natural part of being human, but they can also be overwhelming if you let them control you. The Stoics didn't believe in suppressing emotions. They believed in understanding and mastering them. When you feel anger, frustration, or fear, instead of letting them take over, you can choose how to respond. You don't have to let them dictate your actions. You can choose to let them pass through you without getting attached to them. As you continue on this path, remember that you are not defined by your circumstances, your mistakes, or your struggles. You are defined by how you choose to respond to them. And when you practice intentional refusal, you start to eliminate the things that hold you back. You free yourself from the weight of external pressures and distractions, and you make room for your true self to emerge. One final Stoic practice to incorporate is the daily act of renunciation. This can be as simple as choosing to fast for a day, giving up something you enjoy, like a treat or a convenience, or refraining from something that usually distracts you, like checking your phone constantly. These small sacrifices are reminders that you are in control, that you can live without excess, and that true strength is built through self-discipline. The key takeaway here is that transformation isn't a result of adding more to your life. It's a result of removing what no longer serves you. The Stoics didn't clutter their lives with unnecessary things. They lived with intention, simplicity, and discipline. And by doing so, they built lives that were unshakable, resilient, and grounded in what truly mattered. You now have the tools to start living a more intentional, Stoic life. Each day, ask yourself, what will I refuse today? What distractions, behaviors, or emotions will I let go of? This practice will become your anchor, your guide, and your daily reminder that you are in control. You are not a passive participant in life. You are the creator of your destiny, and you choose who you become with each and every action you take. So, step into this next phase of your journey with confidence. Trust the process. Trust the Stoic path. And remember, transformation doesn't happen overnight, but through the steady, consistent decisions you make each day.